Hey ladies, I want to share my favorite recipe. It's baked kale, but it's crispy and it's crunchy. It's the best way to eat kale because it's not tough. Once it gets crispy and crunchy, it's not tough anymore. It's really good. It's like chips. So what I do, you'll see the size of the bowl and you'll see about the amount of oil, about half as much of oil because I've added other stuff to this, but you want to cover the bottom of your bowl with, like, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 to an eighth of an inch deep in oil. You want to add your seasoning to it and be generous with the seasoning. You don't want to just do a little bit because, you're going to be spreading this out over the leaves, so you'll need plenty of flavor. In this one, I added salt. Let's see, salt, onion powder, garlic powder. You can use fresh, all you want, but they won't crisp up as well. I put a big lot of turmeric, a whole bunch of turmeric in here. And then I added some chipotle and cumin. I've got a batch in the oven right now, which I actually have to pause and go check. Okay, I just pulled my other batch out, and I want you guys to see. Some of these are really crispy already. Others of these are kind of flimsy yet. So what I'm going to do, as I walk away from my camera, I'm going to go ahead and put it all on a plate. Or at least the crispy ones. And see how it's crispy? It's not too flimsy. See that? You can almost hear it crisp. And they turn a little dark. You don't want them to be too dark. But there's nuts. You'll watch how I'll put the oil together. So this one's still flimsy here. This one could use a little longer in the oven, but I want to flip it over. So I'm flipping it over, and then I'll replace that. But let me get the crispy ones up here. See how these are nice and crispy? And this one, it's a little bit flimsy. See, it's a little, too flimsy. So we're going to put that one back in the oven. Unfold any folds. If you see a fold like this, it doesn't help to get crispy if it's folded up. So, and let's see, I'm going to make sure you can see what I'm doing up here. I'll adjust my camera. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing up here. And most of what's up here is crispy. So I'm just going to load it up. This is how I eat my kale. But I want to go ahead and finish up with you. How I mix. I think this one's crispy enough. I'm going to go ahead and, well, maybe I'll leave it there because it's a little flimsy yet. This one doesn't look dark, but it feels a little crispy. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. And then there's these back over here. These all look very crispy. See that? And there's nuts. Again, I did a couple of peanuts and mostly almonds. And this batch has got garlic, onion, salt, pepper, and I believe that was all. Oh no, I put a little smoky paprika in here also because it's good. Okay, so here I go. Grab the last little chunkies. Pause. Alright, I'm back over to my mixture here. What I'm going to do, you'll see, pile on the kale. Just throw it in your bowl. Everything you got. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to whip this up. Then you're just going to start smashing and stirring. Smashing and stirring. You cannot hurt the kale. Even if you break it up, it'll just make it a little bit easier to eat. So you see how you're going to stir this? Just tossing it around. You're just tossing a salad at this point with your nutty, spicy oil. See that? That's what we want to do. And you are going to have to mix a lot to get it into all those little curly spot. So I just keep smashing. Again, you are not going to hurt the kale by giving it a good smash. And you will get it into all the little nooks and crannies. It takes a couple of minutes, though, of swishing it around. I mean, it may take 5 minutes of doing this to get it all distributed all over the leaves the way you're going to want it. If you have places on the leaf that doesn't have oil, it's not going to crisp up as well. Whoop, pause. Alright, I had to check. I had to get the other ones out of the oven real quick, and a couple of them crisped up, and a couple more had to go back in. See that? Oh, all that goodie needs to be all squished around and really distributed throughout all of them. We just go back and forth, scraping the bottom, picking up oil and nuts from the bottom. And eventually, see, you're picking it up now. There's really not going to be a whole lot of oil and nuts. Shouldn't be a whole lot of oil and nuts left, unless you put too much oil in. And you don't want too much oil on your leaves either. If you get too much oil, they don't bake up right. And so anyway, it looks really good. I'll lay them out and show you what I got. Alright, so I want to show you how I put it out on the tray. Not hard, but you know, it's not just something known. I had to learn this too, so let me share it with you. See, there's a little bit of dry here that doesn't have any oil. Just gonna cover it with a little bit of oil. Check the other side, yep, a little bit. Basically, that's all you want to do is just distribute the oil. Okay, there's that. Just grab a couple of pieces. You want to bring them over. See, this didn't have fully covered in oil. Try not to rub your nuts off, your peanuts and your almonds. That's the best part. And then lay it out flat. It doesn't matter if it's bottom up or top up. Just want to lay it out any way you can to get, you know, you want to be able to distribute the heat as evenly as possible. So you want to lay them out real nice, like something like that. You don't want them bent over, slumping over the other way. They will not crisp up right that way. So this is my batch with the turmeric. Pull some apart if you need to. Always if you need to. If you need to go back and like, this one doesn't have a whole lot of good ones on it. However, this one's got plenty, maybe too much. So I'm just gonna make that one share. Okay, because this is almost too much for that one. So you have to be careful too of that. So you don't rub off any excess oil. Add it to a better place. And this is just my favorite way of eating kale. In fact, this is the only way I will eat kale. I don't even care if you break it down and put it in a kale salad. I just don't like it. I love it this way. It's so good. And here we go. Just throw another pile out. Taking these two apart to make it easier. And just start laying them out where you can. This one's got a lot of flavor. I'm going to tear it apart in a couple places. And plenty of oil, maybe a little too much. We'll see how it turns out. It's always hard to judge how much oil and seasoning you need from, every bundle of kale is just a little bit different. You take these little pieces here, put them in the little holes, plug everything up, open everything nicely so there's no folds. Oh, yeah, see, it's getting a little bit crowded over here. I might have to deal with it and just cook these in a couple batches. See how that one needed a little more oil. Oh, this one's way too much. You need to share these. On that one. Sharesies. Oh boy. Yes, That's quite a pie. I may not be able to get it all done on one tray. Just gotta do what we can. That was all folded up. See, that was little, but still. Put it in little spots. Push these around because there's plenty of goodies on there. Break that one up. Put it like that. Goes there. There we go. This one's a little bit good. Put it right there. There is no better way of eating kale than baked, in my opinion, like this. Or salt and oil and oh my gosh, there's even little pieces left. I don't know if we're going to be able to get all this stuff in there without them overlapping, and they, again, I may have to do a couple of different baking with this one. Keep an eye on it. You're going to bake it, start out with 8 minutes because sometimes it cooks fast, sometimes it cooks slow. You can always put it in for longer, but you can't take it away. Alright, and that's it. Let's pause and come back when it's done. And it was just so good. There's only that much of that batch left. Good thing there's another one in the oven. Okay, you'll see it's time to flip these. Some of these are crispy and some of them are not. So we just kind of pick and choose through it. Yeah, it looks crispy enough. Crispy. That's flimsy right there. See that? Flip it over. Flip it over. Just flip everything over at this point. Pull out the crispy stuff. And leave the... You're gonna take it out every, you're gonna check it every 2 minutes after this point. That's still flimsy. It looks done, but that is still a little flimsy there. 2 minutes. If you leave it for longer than 2, you find yourself in trouble. You might burn it. So here we are. Just gonna turn some more. They're flimsy yet. I knew they would because it's a packed tight pan. So there's that. See, these are not very many of these are crispy yet because there's just so many of them on the pan. Not bad, actually. I would have expected more. Look how big this one is. Let's see if I can get it up there. How big this one is. It's not at all done, although it's crispy in the middle. It's not crispy around the edges, so again, unfold everything. Pull the other ones out. Everything else over here, these might be done. I'm gonna grab them with my hands. Yeah, these will. There is no, you know what? They're still a little bit flimsy in the centers. Not real flimsy. So anyway, you might want to do it with your fingers. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Very flimsy. Look at that. All the flippies. Here we go. That one's not really, it's a little crispy, but not as much as I'd like. A couple more. You just, watch them a couple minutes because these are going to go fast. That one's crispy. That one's almost crispy. Nope. Almost. These are almost ready. Okay. A couple of them are done. Here we go again. 2 more minutes. 2 minutes later. It's going to be hot. Not all of them are crisped up yet. Some of them are, though, like that one. Sometimes it's easier to tell how crispy they are with your hands. So. Crispy. Believe it or not, almost crispy. lot of ruffles and there seems to be a lot of oil, then it'd take them a little longer to crisp up. Nope, I'm gonna let it crispy up a little bit longer. These ones, see? I chipped up some. I don't know if you can see this. Okay. Just barely a little bit flimsy right there. It's not too crispy, but I'm gonna keep it. Not flimsy. Okay, a little bit flimsy, but they got a lot of curly on those leaves there. These two were buried, so that looks crispy. Crispy. Yeah, these are good and crisped up. You know, if they're real thick or they seem to have a lot of oil or nuts, it's gonna take a little longer. It seems crispy, but it's these two. This one, nope, not quite yet either. Okay, and there we go. I believe that one's crisped up enough. Let's cook these 2 more minutes. Alright, put them in for another 2 minutes, but they did not all get crisped up. I think the big one is crispy now. Most of them did, but there are some of the smaller ones that just are still, they're just not crispy, so these are all crispy. Not. Yes, that is. See, this is not. It is. These all are. Oh yeah, those look. Oh, those are nice. They're falling apart. They're so crispy. Okay. A lot of times the little crumblies are pretty crisped up. Yeah, that's crispy. These are all little crispies. These little things are pretty crispy. This one is not. There's one little one is the only thing we have left that's just not, well, two of them. They're not doing, you know, what they're supposed to. All we really do at that point is just stick them right back in the oven. Keep a real close eye on them. At this point, though, you may want to grab a spatula and actually clean it up. Otherwise, it might burn. This stuff is really good to actually, you know, sprinkle on the rest of your stuff after it's cooked. So scoop it up. It's good stuff. Scoop it over. Scoop it over, and then just like this. There you go, you guys. This is, I'm just going to cook these up, but you have seen what I do with my kale. And I hope you enjoy it. Bye.